Tim O'Connor, cause he believes in the Constitution. And as your assemblyman, he will be your voice. He'll never let you down, make him the choice. Hallelujah, hallelujah. We finally had a man who hears your voice. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Tim O'Connor is the only choice. Write in Tim O'Connor, Libertarian, for New York State Senate, Senate District 51.
All right, guys, it's already October 22nd, 2020. As I made mention of, my opponents mistakenly, I would have to say, left me off the debate stage the other day when they had a debate out in Cayuga County. So what I did was, and guys, believe me, the debate was an hour long. It was interesting. They're both nice guys. It's okay. They have the typical duopolis solutions, and we're working on something better than that here for Senate District 51. That's why I'm going live tonight with the questions that they asked. And remember, guys, failure is not final. Success, wait. Hang on, let me do that again, guys. I'm starting this debate off bad, but I'm going to keep working. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal, and it's the courage to continue that counts. So look, I took a couple liberties. I'm going to wear my hat tonight. The likes, the comments, the shares. That's what keeps me doing this. That's why literally, that's why I'm on the air sharing my debate concepts with you guys. All right. So basically, every debate will start off with your opening statements. My opening statements are very simple. I can compare them to those guys for you. One is a reasonably successful businessman that brought his business back to the local area, Cayuga County, and serves on the county board. And I find that to be valuable, and I appreciate his service. The other guy is a sixth-generation farmer from Schoharie County, also a nice guy. But guys, listen, I spent my whole life in Senate District 51. I grew up a young man in a economically challenged situation. I managed to work my way through college, literally working full time as a bartender in restaurants and stuff like that. And I managed to get a degree in economics from the Binghamton University down in Binghamton. And I think that credential stands up well against either one of what those guys are offering. That's number one. So number two, when I worked on a family farm, guys. I grew up in high school. We worked on a family farm. I put in the hours. I know what farming is like. And believe me, in Senate District 51, all over Senate District 51, farming is a big deal. And we have to take a look at how we're serving our farmers and how the government can serve our farmers better. And one of the ways we could serve them better is simply by letting them be more proactive in business. Okay. So I'm taking a few liberties with the whole debate concept. I'm wearing my hat. I did put on a nice shirt for you guys. I hope you appreciate that. So, but again, like I said, if you guys have questions or comments, I'm pretty sure I can work my way through the questions that they asked at the debate. Be done in plenty of time to let everybody go off to Muddy Waters or CNN or ABC to watch the big presidential debate. And so all that's good. The first question, the opening question, guys, and if you want to watch the debate, it's available at auburnpub.com with the other two guys. So that's fine if you want to check that out. I won't bore you with trying to answer for them. I'm going to offer you the questions that were asked and the answers that I would come up with. So, of course, a typical question is any day now, every time you run into a reporter, the question is going to be, what are you going to do specifically for Cayuga County as the senator for Cayuga County? And the answer is that Senate District 51 is the size of the state of Connecticut. It goes from Ulster County up to Herkimer County. It grabs Cortland County, Schoharie County, goes out to a little bit of Cayuga and Tompkins, and of course my home county, Otsego County. And so it's a huge mammoth area, and they've gerrymandered it in such a way that it's basically broken up into small college towns and major farming areas. So there's a lot of land in Senate District 51. So farming, as we all know in New York State, is declining. What would I do for Cayuga County? The same thing that I would do for all of Senate District 51, and that is get to work rewriting and talking to towns and counties about rewriting their regulations to benefit farmers. New York State doesn't have a good enough appreciation for the farming community as a whole. And as we all know in upstate New York, downstate makes a lot of rules that cost upstate New York an incredible amount of money. And we're losing people because of it. We've lost businesses because of it. We've chased businesses out of here. Remington, it just left Herkimer, closed up shop, moved all their operations to North Carolina. That is the bottom line. That's what happens in New York, and it's been happening for too long. Laird Edward Duncan, Waterboy Waterworks over towards Norwich, guys. Great guy. Thanks for popping in the lobby. I appreciate it. Remember the likes, the comments, and shares. If you've got the guts to share this to your own homepage, do it, because we will make look, guys, I'm dedicated to going to the New York State Senate and making impact. That's the bottom line. Now, I've run a campaign. It has had impact. These guys are I would say they're using some of my ideas. So you guys paying attention to me and sharing my views with them is helping them. And that's fine. That's one of the reasons why I'm running. So what would I do for Cayuga County? The same thing I would do for the rest of the state, guys. We would start teaching these people about economics. We would start teaching them about the fact that taxes are too high, that we chase our children out of here, and that we've been crushing businesses for decades. All right. Second issue, and this one's a little bit trickier because we have a guy that's retiring this year. That's why this is a wide open race. Okay. And James Seward. Hey, buddy, what's going on? Ryan Bedford, drinking my RC Cola tonight, bought it out of a coffee cup. Getting ready for the big debates tonight, which are going to be more of the same thing, as you guys all know. It's literally going to be more of the same thing. They are not going to talk about solutions. They're going to try to get these two guys fighting over nothing. Just like the last one, guys, there was no real questions about foreign policy. There was no real questions about how to handle tax structure. No real questions about what legislation needs to be worked on. It was every single question was designed to get those guys fighting. And guys, I don't know if you notice I'm sweating, but I did try to turn up the heat in this room so that I can be prepared for a real debate in the future. So it is hot here, and I don't care. I'm challenging myself. I should have shaved probably. It doesn't quite look as good with this shirt as it does with one of my regular shirts, but that's life. So the second issue was about James Seward served our area for 30 years. And guys, I used to manage restaurants back in the day when I was a young man, and I was at James Seward's first inauguration. James Seward is a good guy, but the bottom line is, and these guys, let me just tell you right now, I would have thrown this question in their face. These guys do not talk about population loss because they know that is a form and a failure of New York State government. So not one person, while Jim Seward served for 30 years, and with all due respect to Jim Seward and his 30 years of service, we have lost 1.5 million, 2 million people out of New York State. That is the bottom line. And while I'm not pinning that on Jim Seward, I'm saying that the failure of New York State governance has been repeated forever, for decades. We've been raising our taxes, we've been chasing businesses out of here, and we've been training our kids to be good people and sending them off for economic opportunity because we have not enough. Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. And so that's the reality, guys. Jim Seward, nice guy. They got into the argument with Jim Seward was really able to bring home the bacon to Senate District 51. And both of my opponents made the bold claim that they were going to be able to bring the bacon back to upstate New York. And I'm telling you right now, guys, that's not how this is going to work. We are New York State, $13 billion in debt right now, $13 billion budget deficit right now. The government response to COVID, $13 billion in debt. There is no answer that we can bring home the bacon unless we get bailed out by the federal government, right? That's the reality. Unless we get bailed out by the federal government, no one senator is going to be effective at bringing home the bacon. So, and I will throw in what the other two guys said. One said, I'll reach across the aisle and make sure we craft good deals to bring home the bacon to Senate District 51. The other guy said, well, I'll be part of the majority party and I'll be able to bring home the bacon just like Jim Seward. That was their argument, guys. That was their argument. Was they're going to be better at bringing home the bacon to Senate District 51, right? All over Central New York. That's the argument. These guys are going to be able to bring home the non-existent bacon from New York State to our local districts. And they both were like, oh, we'll just make the state pay for Medicare and Medicaid. And it's like, okay, good luck with that. That ain't happening. Okay, none of that is going to happen, guys. None of it. It's a dream to even say it, guys. They shouldn't have even said it. And that's with all due respect to both those guys because they're nice guys. But that is crafting a platitude that means nothing. They're not bringing home the bacon to Senate District 51. So, period. Third issue, term limits. Guys, I'm 54 years old. If I get in there and work for 3 terms, I'm done and moving on. Maybe I run for federal Senate. Maybe I run for something else. Maybe I step into a libertarian administration. You guys know Larry Sharp, and he's going to win a governorship. And if he wants me to help him after I win a Senate race, I'll help him. But I'm not staying in the Senate, guys. And besides, after 6 years of making the kind of money that they make, I'll be able to retire. I'll buy a motorhome and travel around and park in my kids' driveways. They make $120,000 a year plus $170 a day per diem. Period. It's big money, guys. It's literally big money. It's big money, and it's great money. And I've worked hard my whole life. With that kind of pay, guys, I wouldn't even know when to stop working to earn that kind of money. Okay. And it would be constantly trying to educate people about economics in the state Senate. There's things that I would advocate for, right? During my term limits, I guess we'll talk about term limits. They didn't, there's a referendum every 2 years. If we want term limits, we can elect somebody else, But I promised self-imposed term limits, three terms probably. I would then move on to something else. If in fact we didn't develop a libertarian administration in New York State, and I was asked to participate in that, because I would do that. All right. So these guys, these things, these goals, having libertarians in the Senate, why it would be better than having a Republican or a Democrat. Let's talk about that, since we were talking about Jim Seward, and I would have worked that in. Okay. Why would it be better to have a libertarian in the New York State Senate? Because number one, more libertarians are coming. Number two, we will have people who will have to listen to us. Eventually, if we get enough of us in there, they will have to listen to us, okay? They will have to come to us, either the Democrats or the Republicans, to hopefully get a bill passed through the Senate, right? Because if we can grow this wedge big enough, we can grow this center block, this libertarian notion that the government isn't solving problems, that what we need to do is empower the individuals in Senate District 51 to solve their own problems. That should be the goal of the government. And one of the ways we have to do that is by cutting taxes. There's not going to be any magic to cutting taxes. We're going to have to work, and we're going to have to grow economic opportunity. That's the reality. That's what we're up against, guys. We can pretend that we can drag the best deal out of Cuomo that's possible. There's no deals to be made right now. Again, unless Trump bails out Cuomo. Then Cuomo can bail out the counties, and then we can talk about what's the best way to bail us out. And then, guys, if that happens, we're left with the same problems that we already have, right? Period. Those problems don't go away. We bail us out. Those problems are still there. Our taxes are still going up. Our kids are still going to leave. If we don't address the root cause of the problems, that our governance in New York is top heavy, it's burdensome. Every time you turn around, you think you're going to end up with a boot on your neck. Every time, guys, I'm a contractor. I'm telling you, every time you turn around, it gets worse and worse. And workers' comp gets more expensive. And it's harder and harder to find guys to help you do jobs. Those things are real. Those things are New York State problems. And they don't have those problems in Pennsylvania. They don't have those problems in Kentucky. There are kids there. There are people there. There's economic opportunity there. And that's why people are leaving. I don't know about that. Right now, I am mock debating my other two opponents. The reason why they do want term limits for Supreme Court justices actually creates a danger of corrupting them. So that let's say they're 40 years old, they get appointed to the Supreme Court justice. Couple rulings, they can be set up for life. I don't like term limits for Supreme Court justices, though. It's as good an argument as any that they're putting out there. They put it out there for us to cause us arguments. Yes, Massey is great. I love that guy. I love the way that he jokes around and pokes fun at the existing legislature. So he made a tweet tonight, guys, about how he forced the legislator to do its job, the federal legislator to do its job and come back to work. And I told him that's what I would do for Senate District 51. And he liked my tweet, and he likes my tweets pretty regularly. So, and I would, guys. I mean, that's the deal. I would shame these guys. All right. So the third question was the issue of one guy is going to go in as being part of the majority party, and one guy is going to go in as being a substantially minority party. I think I covered that with the concept of libertarians will make better Democrats and better Republicans. And as we grow that circle of middle ground of people that don't love the state, that want solutions for people, all right, instead of let's go talk Cuomo into crafting a new program. Guys, that stuff should be done. We should wipe that right out of every single one of our representatives' mouths because we're broke. All right. There was some question in there mixed in about cutting state aid to the schools for 20% cut of funding from New York State to the schools. Yeah, it happened. It's going to continue to happen. Cuomo, guys, and I like to bash Cuomo, and he should be bashed. He's threatening to withhold funding that already isn't being paid. Okay, guys, the counties and the towns are already not getting their money, period. And guys, I'm kind of rushing through things because I know it's a big, exciting debate night, but I want to get this out there. Plus, I have an interview in the morning, and I figure if I warm up tonight, I'll be like ready to go at about 9 in the morning. So basically, the questions 2 and 3 kind of overlap there, where we were talking about term limits and James Seward and how libertarians can create better Republicans and better Democrats, and how we can start crafting real solutions where we're not relying on party politics. Guys, I would, as a libertarian, my mind is like, can we just get rid of parties? Wouldn't that be better? So I feel like I kind of covered that. My Democratic opponent made a really good point about Senate District 51. And as you guys have seen on my show, I know a guy who's already done the work to redistrict New York State in a way that almost matches the New York State Constitution. It is a little bit impossible to get it perfectly there. So Dr. Mark Brayman and I, and if you guys have a chance, go check out Dr. Mark Brayman's page. And I would work towards an effective redistricting of New York State, where we can get better agreements between larger urban areas and our rural communities in a location that we have power, where we have population going, geez, we can't just crap on our community. That's what's happening now. We gerrymandered Senate District 51, guys. It looks like a ray gun, a Martian ray gun. I'm not kidding. It's got a handle that travels down to Ulster. It's got an aim sight that travels up to Herkimer County, goes out and catches Schoharie County, catches a part of Delaware County, and then it goes all the way up to Cortland County, travels up into Cayuga County, and then down into Tompkins County. And guys, that's ridiculous. It was literally crafted to keep a Republican in that seat, because it just went out, grabbed voters. It's one of the most ridiculously gerrymandered districts in the state ever. Okay. And actually, one of the guys on the stage made that point. I don't want to say which one, because it doesn't matter. But it sounded an awful lot like what I've said when I've talked to Dr. Mark Brayman in one of my other podcasts. I just want to be clear about that. It sounded almost exactly like it, almost word for word. And he's a really nice guy, so I'm not knocking him. If he stole my idea, he's welcome to it. And I've got more, brother. So you keep coming. All right. Let's see. I'll grab a couple quick little questions. If presidents can have 2 term limits, every elected official needs to have. Well, if it's a 2-year term, wouldn't we want to say let it be 8 years? There is an argument for that. And then there is an argument for effective representation. If your elected representative is doing the job that you want him to do, then that's the guy that you want. All right. So I'm saying self-imposed term limits at 6 years for me. I promise you guys, I will do the job as hard as I can, so that in 6 years, I won't want to do it anymore. I'll be wore out. I'll do it that hard. I'll wear myself out. Yeah. Last I heard, it was 10 years before a libertarian is anywhere near a high office. Maybe 4 more years of Trump, 2024, a libertarian is going to break through. Yeah, let's talk about that, Chuck. Actually, I've got some time. we're into this 20 minutes. I've got about another, I got 40 minutes to work with pretty much. So yeah, Trump basically created, in a sense, the notion that third parties should serve in government, because he wasn't a Republican. He's not a diehard Republican. He's a populist. A lot of people like him. He's done some libertarian things. He's literally been, and this is with all due respect to you, Chuck, pandering to libertarians, because libertarians are incredibly anti-war. We're incredibly anti-war machine. We're incredibly anti-political media complex. We're anti-regulations that are purchased by insurance companies. We're anti-regulations that are purchased by big pharma. We're anti-regulations. We're anti these big top-down governing structures. We're anti-regulations that protect business in a free market. Okay, if you're in a free market and there's two guys competing to make tests right out of a garage for COVID, and one of them doesn't have enough money to go through the FDA to get through that program, all right, but their product is better, the better product gets quashed by the company that has more money. So that's why we're seeing vaccines coming from GlaxoSmithKline and what's Merck. Like, they have the money to do that. So Trump has done some things that are libertarian, promising to end all wars. That is pandering to the libertarians. And there's a lot of libertarians. Like, I know you're a libertarian that likes Trump. Or if you don't, I'm pretty sure you're a libertarian that likes Trump. That's fine. Okay. I know you're a libertarian. So when we get into that, there's lots of libertarians that like Trump. There's some libertarians that like Biden. As a matter of fact, guys, if you're a libertarian and you saw our libertarian vice presidential candidate from 2016 brag about casting his vote for Joe Biden, I was embarrassed by that. First of all, he can vote for whoever he wants to. I respect everyone's right to vote for whoever they want to. Okay. But I don't respect anybody, especially someone that the Libertarian Party worked hard for. I don't respect them making a big issue about not voting for Joe Jorgensen. Okay. I think that was incredibly inappropriate. Bill Weld is a party jumper anyway. And guys, I wasn't even really a big L Libertarian Party guy back then. Okay. We're making inroads. We're making changes. That's what this is about. So that was embarrassing. I want to, I was mean to him on Twitter maybe, but I'm going to leave it at that. What he did was completely inappropriate. Keith is in his debate now. All right. I'm going to roll through this quick then. All right. Yes. He's not going to let anybody debate him, Andrew. You know why? He has a population locked up that's going to vote for him. Now, over the course of the next few years, Andrew, what we should work on, besides working on your race and my next race, okay, what we should work on is getting more people registered to vote, okay? Because upstate doesn't vote. And I'm not the only one that makes that. This is another one I'm basically stealing from Larry Sharp. Upstate New York doesn't vote. That's the reality. If we voted, we would have more say in what's going on in New York State. If Cuomo saw us as a real threat to his tenure, and there's a guy, New York State government, New York State governor should have term limits, because this is a clown show. This guy should be gone. So he won't debate anybody unless they're really popular. The two Dr. Marks. Yes, Dr. Mark Barreto is also awesome. Perfection takes time. A libertarian president is coming. And guys, maybe he's right. And it will take time. And it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of work. All right. I stopped referring to Cuomo. Yeah, stop. He doesn't deserve anything from us. Il Duce is a good, it is. I mean, it adequately describes his governing program. Okay, I forgot all about Keith Price's debate. So I'm going to roll through this. I'll get done in about 10 minutes, and we can all go check out Keith Price. Keith Price is on national TV debating. He's running against Claudia Tenney and Brindisi, Anthony Brindisi. And Keith is a great guy. I really like the way that Keith approaches things. He's brilliant. He's smart. He's friendly. He's nice. He's all the things that you want in a politician and a libertarian. So what could be better? All right. I think I like that he could be the transition away from the 2 or 1. Yes, it's possible that he is. I actually placed a bet that he might change his party at some point. He would be an interesting route to go. Bill Weld should literally weld his. I agree. There was no reason for that. That was literally sticking his thumb in the eye of the Libertarian Party. You again, guys. Whoever you vote for, and I'm going to ask you guys for the same respect. Whoever I vote for, understand it. I put a lot of thought into it, guys, and I'll talk about that in a minute. All right, and then so Bill Weld should have kept his mouth shut. I respect whoever he wants to vote for if he puts in the work and he decides that's the answer. His vote was anti-Trump, the simplistic anti-Trump stuff. Okay, literally, that's what he said. I'm anti-Trump, so I'm voting for Biden. That's what he said. That's what the Libertarian vice president from 4 years ago decided his vote was worth. In a state that's going to go blue no matter where his vote went. I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed. But guys, it's politics, man, and you can't stay disappointed over politics because it ain't worth it. It isn't worth that. And I just love your name, brother. So I put that up there. Thank you. Oh yeah, John, put up a link for us. We'll check it out. All right. And don't forget at 9, we're going to have the big, huge presidential debate, Muddy Waters. Drop the like. So remember, going in the lobby, Muddy Waters. Spike's hilarious. He's brilliant. He's funny. He's conversationalist. All right. So let's go back to the fourth issue in the debate between my two opponents up in Cayuga County, which I didn't get invited to. I was about cash bail. So you guys have heard me talk about cash bail. I'm in favor on some level of bail reform, but the way that it was done, it basically boils down now to an unfunded mandate and an irresponsible top-down legislative package. Okay, our local justices who we pay to protect us, who may or may not know the people that are in trouble and may or may not know more about them than anyone else, shouldn't they have some rights to A, protect that person, and B, sometimes the jailing is a step towards treatment for a drug problem. All right. So first of all, that's a problem, right? We want to end this war on drugs. We want people feeling incredibly comfortable going and getting treatment if they're addicted to drugs, and if they're in the midst of a problem with drugs. We don't want them to go somewhere and get arrested because they have drugs on them. We want them to seek treatment. So we want to end this war on drugs. But right now, bail reform is bad, and it's hurting our communities, and it's going to hurt our communities more because now some judges refuse to go along with the bail reform law, and now they're being investigated by for civil rights violations and yada yada yada. That's not cool. All right, so change bail reform, repeal it. Salka, whatever, he's not the worst guy out there. He's out leading this issue on bail reform. Fine, get rid of it. Do it right, okay? Debated on the floor of the Senate and the Assembly, which hasn't happened in years because of Cuomo crafting. Guys, he's not just a dictator now, okay? He calls executive emergencies on laws so that they can pass 700 of them in a 24-hour period. I'm not even kidding, guys. That's how he's been running this state for decades, okay? Over a decade, excuse me. And it's got to stop, man. It's embarrassing. We got to get rid of that guy. We can all agree to get rid of that guy. Republicans, Democrats, liberals, conservatives, that guy's got to go. Keith does have some boss moments, man. I'm not even kidding. So yeah, we'll check out Keith's debate. Thank you, John, for putting that in there. Thank you. We've had a great time, Andrew, going to Legends and hanging out with Larry, and you should join in this show and us doing our meetings and you stepping up into a leadership role in our LP and you campaigning for your position in Maryland town. All that stuff is going to help grow the Libertarian Party, bud. That is awesome. That is a good name. All right, so I went over cash bail. Repeal it, start fresh, debate it, guys. That's what these guys are making $120,000 plus average $117 a day per diem. That's what they're getting paid for. Okay, redebate it, rework it, make it more libertarian because that's really what they want to do. They want to do the right thing for people who don't have money. And we want to end this war on drugs so that we can do the right thing for people. Like, stop punishing people for victimless crimes. It's embarrassing. We have people in jail and for-profit prisons because of minor drug offenses. We've destroyed communities in urban centers because of this. It's embarrassing, guys. We got to stop. We've got to stop it. It's absolute. It's barbaric. All right. Fiscal policy. Guys, I've mentioned fiscal policy in New York a couple times here already. Okay. Um, Fiscal policy in New York. Neither one of these guys, and this is with all due respect to them, and I would have said this in a rebut to both of their comments. Okay. Neither one of these guys has a clue about the fiscal reality of New York State. We're broke. We're chasing, and neither one of these guys, and the guy who asked the questions didn't even say anything about this, guys. And this is weird to me. All right. It's like, let me think if I can come up with an example. It's like, you know what your biggest problem is, but you refuse to look at it. And there's got to be some way to say it better than that. Okay. But New York State, okay, is losing people at an alarming rate. New York State's response to COVID is going to lose us more people at a faster rate. Sure, some of them are leaving the city and moving upstate, but some of them are leaving the city and moving to Connecticut and New Jersey and further away than that. They're going to go to a place with internet. So face reality. And this is where I'm going to take shots at those guys. Okay. One of them said he'd reach across the aisle and help get good programs going. And the other one said, we're going to tax Wall Street because you know what? We're already taxing Wall Street and we give them their money back. And it's like, you know why we give them their money back? You know why we don't tax them and keep their money? Because they'll leave just like everybody else. It's not a solution. Wall Street will leave on some level. They will find a way to cheat New York State out of those taxes. That's why we give them that money back. We give them that money back so that they stay here. So keeping that money that we now tax them and give back to them will only chase them away. We will chase whatever it is that they do for New York State, which there's a lot of high earners there. There's a lot of high salaries in New York City associated with Wall Street. Fine. We're lucky it's here, but now we're in the digital age. It doesn't have to stay here. Okay, guys, it can go anywhere. It can go anywhere. Regularly, you see people delist themselves off the New York Stock Exchange and move to the NASDAQ. It happens all the time. The more that we tax those people unfairly, and the more we make investing expensive, the less people are going to get returns on their money. And so the theory is a tax that doesn't hurt anybody, like a sales tax on stocks transactions that happen in New York State. Are you hearing me? A sales tax on stock transactions that happen in New York State. All this has to happen is the stock transaction doesn't have to happen in New York State. Right now, it's a system. Guys, it's a ghost town compared to what it used to be. There used to be hundreds and thousands of people on the floor of the New York State Stock Exchange, excuse me. And now there's like 5 guys walking from computer to computer. It's like, and with all due respect to him, I get that they want to raise taxes. I get that that's the goal of both of those guys, is to find a way to raise taxes to help people in upstate New York. Fine. That's a good goal. It's not going to work. It's a good goal. It's not going to work. All right. Our taxes are going up. Period. All right. And we weren't watching as I know, Chuck, that is our fault, man. We needed to wake up to politics about 5 years ago. This is our fault. This is all of our faults because we didn't wake up to this situation sooner. We were busy, getting involved with our kids, meeting our wives, doing stuff, and we didn't pay attention. We had our eye off the ball, and you can't swing the bat when your eye is off the ball, Chuck. You can't swing the bat when your eye is not on the ball, or you might as well not, right? You know that. You know what I'm talking about, softball man. Yes, that was great, man. And I am still undefeated in Cornhole for Liberty because we only had that one event. But it was great to have you there. I thought we did a great job. And I think we got to have some more events in the future, even if they're in the middle of the cold weather. I don't care. We have to work on growing Liberty. And if we can grow Liberty by hanging out and having a beer or two and playing cornhole or something, why wouldn't we, right? This is This is to your two opponents. You think you know more than you understand. Quoted from your grandfather was a brilliant guy. I see you quoting him all the time, guys, and that's good stuff. All right. So last but not least, guys, there was a question about water quality up towards Cayuga. There's the lakes up there, and they're measuring and seeing more algae blooms. One of the problems with algae blooms, guys, is that farmers nitrates off their fields shed into water, and then that creates there's too many nitrates in the water. Supposedly because of global warming as well, there's too many. So they're creating these water quality issues with algae blooms. Let me just tell you that that's a problem with not letting farmers do what they want to with their land, because there's plenty of spaces along farms where they could develop right next to the road or down by the river, put in houses, put in green yards. Runoff would be filtered through a green, grassy yard where people were living comfortably and happy. But farmers can't do that because the second they start developing their piece of property, the whole thing gets taxed as commercial. All right. That's reality. We need to loosen up our restrictions on farmers, let them take care of it, even go so far as to grant them credits or concept credits to say, if you do this, if you develop housing along areas where water runoff and nitrate runoff is a problem, okay, where you get it absorbed through your grass and get it have great green lawns between you and a lake or a stream to protect. That's the right thing to do, guys. That's how we do it. That's how we reinvent this, and let them grow cash crops. If they grow more cash crops, they won't be growing as many cows anyway. All right. Not even kidding. Not even kidding. All right. So, guys, it's a big night out there. Take some time to check out Keith Price. Getting about 36 minutes. That's good enough. Their whole meeting was an hour, so I already spent 36 minutes answering their questions, and so that means I got more time than they did. So I answered some of your questions as well, which is fine, and I enjoyed it. And thank you for being here, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah. Actually, that was where one of my opponents sounded just like me. He talked about pilot programs and how they're unfair to businesses that have already been here, and they are. Okay, granting a business coming here and taking that money and not giving it directly back to the community in a form of a tax break. Okay, they're unfair. And to the businesses that are already here that have been paying employees for decades, the employees then pay property taxes on the property they own. Those businesses pay property taxes on the property they own, taxed at a commercial rate based on how much they make. Okay. Then we grant a pilot program to something like a Burger King or a windmill. Guys, it's so unfair. It's not even funny. Take that money from the windmills, give it directly in a tax rebate to every person in the counties affected by that. I don't care. I can't stand that stuff. Pilot programs, lower taxes for everybody, guys. That's what I would work so hard trying to convince everyone of. The government has to stop taking less from every single person in the country. Affordable housing, you can't have affordable housing in New York State with property taxes through the roof. You can't. All right. Bottom line is you absolutely can't. Yes, regulate marijuana like onions, guys. It's a race, guys. That's the other thing. Get there, work hard, explain to these guys. It's a race, okay? It's a race to legislate Gen 4 nuclear. It's a race to legalize marijuana in such a way that it benefits our communities, guys. Not saying deregulate it like crazy. Guys, I'm going to have the guy from Narch Farms on. Can't wait to do that. Even if it doesn't work before the election, I'm going to have him on. Yes, they're horrible, man. They're a major imposition on communities. I don't mind seeing them off in the distance. They look kind of cool, 700 foot tall, in the middle of a wood zone, but they're building them over in Guilford, man, right out of town. They're going to ruin people's properties. All right, guys, thank you all very much for being here. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for the shares. I'll probably be in the Muddy Waters lobby making my funny comments as best I can. Y'all have a good night. Check out Keith's debate with Brindisi and Tenney. Should be hot because he might have some jabs to take at Tenney. He probably will. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good night. Thank you all very much.